In this video, you will solve problems involving similar right triangles formed by the altitude drawn to the hypotenuse of a right triangle. Right triangle similarity. If the length of the hypotenuse and a leg of a right triangle are proportional to the corresponding parts of another right triangle, then the triangles are similar. So we're going to break up this triangle into three separate triangles. The first triangle is going to be triangle ADC, and it's the medium-sized triangle there. The next triangle is triangle BCD, and it's the smaller triangle here. And the last triangle is triangle ABC, which is the large triangle, and it's this triangle here. Example number 1. Find the value of the variable. So what I'm going to do is take this triangle and break it up into two separate triangles. So the first one will be in blue, and I'm going to stand it up. So it's going to look like this. So my height is 6, and my base is x. Now I'm going to draw the smaller triangle, which will be in pink. My height will be x, and my base will be 3. So I'm going to set it up as a proportion. First, I'm going to take my height. It's going to be over my base. So the height of the blue triangle is going to be 6. The base is x. The height of the small triangle is x, and the base is 3. Now I'm going to cross multiply. X times x gives me x squared. 6 times 3 gives me 18. In order to solve for x, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is just x. And the square root of 18, I'm going to break it up to 9 times 2. I'm going to bring down my x. The square root of 9 is 3, so that will come out. And then 2, I can't break that up, so it's going to stay inside. So that means that the value of x equals 3 root 2. Example number 2. Find the value of the variable. So what I'm going to do is take this triangle and break it apart into two separate triangles. So the first triangle is going to be this large triangle, which is in blue. So I'm going to redraw it over here. So my height is going to be y, and my hypotenuse across from the right angle is going to be 2 plus 5, which gives me 7. Now my small triangle, which is the one in pink, I'm going to flip it and redraw it over here. So my height is going to be 2, and my hypotenuse across from the right angle is going to be y. I'm going to set it up as a proportion. It's going to be my height over my hypotenuse. Now for the blue triangle, my height is y over the hypotenuse, which is 7. It's going to be equal to the height of the pink triangle, which is 2, over the hypotenuse, which is y. I'm going to cross multiply. So y times y will give me y squared. 7 times 2 will give me 14. In order to isolate y, I need to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of y squared is just y, and the square root of 14 is just the square root of 14. There is no perfect square. So y equals the square root of 14. Example number 3. A roof has a cross-section that is a right triangle. The diagram shows the appropriate dimensions of the cross-section. Identify the similar triangles. Find the height h of the roof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this triangle and break it up into three separate triangles. I'm going to start with this small one here, which is the one in pink, and I know it's this far one on the left. The reason why I know that is because I have the hypotenuse, which is across from the right angle, and it's 3.1, and I have the height, which is h. Now I'm going to take this medium triangle, which is the one in green, and I know it's this one in the middle. The reason why is because I have the hypotenuse of 5.5 and I have the base h. Now I have the large triangle, which is in blue, and it is the triangle on the far right. The reason why I know that is because I have all the side lengths. So now I'm going to find the height of the roof. In order to do that, I'm going to set up a proportion. I'm going to set up the hypotenuse over the height. I'm going to use two of the triangles. I'm going to use the small one in pink and the large one in blue. So the hypotenuse of the small triangle is across from the right angle, which is 3.1. And the height is the letter H. Now the large triangle in blue, my hypotenuse across from the right angle is 6.3. And the height is 5.5. So now I'm going to cross multiply. 6.3 times h is 6.3h. 3.1 times 5.5 gives me 17.05. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 6.3 so I can isolate h. This side will cancel out. I'm going to bring down h. 17.05 divided by 6.3 gives me approximately 2.7 meters. So that means the height of the roof is 2.7 meters. Example number 4. Find dB, round decimals to the nearest tenth. So what I'm going to do is take this triangle and I'm going to make it into two separate triangles. So I'm going to start with the small one, which is the pink one. I'm going to draw it over here. I'm going to label it C, D, B. Since we are looking for dB, I'm going to make that X. My height in this triangle is 12. Now, my medium triangle is going to be in blue. I'm going to go ahead and turn it, and I'm going to draw it over here. My height, let me label first. I have A, D, C. Now my height will be 16, and my base will be 12. So I'm going to set it up as a proportion. I'm going to set it up as height over base. I'm going to start with the pink triangle. So the height is 12. My base is X. Now the blue triangle. The height is 16. My base is 12. I'm going to cross multiply. So I have X times 16 gives me 16X. 12 times 12 will give me 144. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 16 so I can isolate X. This will cancel out. I'm going to bring down X. 144 divided by 16 gives me 9. So that means that X equals 9. Example number 5. Find HF, round decimals to the nearest tenth. So what I'm going to do is take this triangle and I'm going to make it into two separate triangles. So the first one is going to be this one here in pink. I'm going to stand it up and flip it. I'm going to label it F, H, G. My height is going to be X because we are looking for HF. And my hypotenuse is 20. Now the next triangle is the larger triangle in blue. I'm going to go ahead and turn it. I'm going to label it F, G, E. My height is 20. My hypotenuse is 25. Now I'm going to set it up as a proportion, which is going to be my height over my hypotenuse. I'm going to start with the pink triangle. The height is x. The hypotenuse, which is across from the right angle, is 20. Equal to the blue triangle. My height is 20. My hypotenuse is 25, again across from the right angle. Now I'm going to cross multiply. X times 25 will give me 25x. 20 times 20 will give me 400. I need to divide both sides by 25 in order to isolate x. This side will cancel out. X equals 400 divided by 25 gives me 16. So x equals 16, which is also HF. So HF equals 16. And that's how you solve problems involving similar right triangles.